How to get a top rank in GATE exam. There are around 6 to 7 months left for GATE. If you are wondering whether you still have enough time to get a good rank and what you should be doing from today until the exam, then this video is for you. Hi everyone, my name is Tejas Tankar. I have secured All India rank 113 in GATE Computer Science 2026. In this video, I will share a roadmap for the remaining months of preparation, the mistakes you should avoid, and the things that actually matter for getting a good rank. So let's get started. Generally, I see two categories of student. Category one is students who have already purchased a structured course or are even following free resources but in a structured manner. And category two, students who are preparing from random YouTube videos, college PDFs, Telegram materials, or any other different source. If you are in the second category, my advice is very simple. Get into a structured system as soon as possible. You don't necessarily need the most expensive course available, but you do need a fixed roadmap. One of the biggest mistakes students make is constantly changing teachers. They study OS from one teacher, then somebody says another teacher is better. They switch. This switching will not improve your rank, but it will cost you your time. You will lose time, your weeks, or even months. So I will advise you to pick your resources, pick your teachers, trust the process, and stick to them. If possible, invest in a structured course. And regardless of whether you purchase a course or prepare through free resources, invest in a good test series. Do not wait for syllabus completion to purchase one. A lot of students keep postponing it until later, after one subject, after half the syllabus, or after completing everything. Don't do that. Purchase it early and start attempting tests gradually. And please avoid pirated test series. A good test series is one of the best investments you can make during your preparation. Now let's talk about the actual preparation. So your primary focus should be syllabus completion. Personally, I would recommend you to try to finish your syllabus by November. If it stretches till December, that's completely fine. But the earlier you finish, the more time you will have for revision, PYQs, and full-length mock tests. Now, many students understand that syllabus completion is important. But the real question is, what should your process be while completing the syllabus? The mistake most students make is that they only watch lectures. They complete lectures of for one subject, then move to next subject, then another. And after a few months, they realize they have forgotten a large portion of the first subject. So instead of just watching lectures, I would recommend following a simple cycle: learn, practice, and revise. Let's say you complete a topic in notes. Don't just finish the lecture and move on. Spend some time solving questions from the topic, solve PYQs, solve good practice questions. Check whether you can actually apply the concepts you learned. Because watching a lecture and solving questions are two completely different things. Now let's talk about revision. And this is probably one of the biggest reasons students forget subjects. Most students treat revision as something that will happen after syllabus completion. I don't think that works. In fact, this is something I learned during my own preparation. Initially, I wasn't revising regularly, and after a weeks, I realized I was forgetting topics that I had already completed. That's when I started spending some time every day going through my notes, solving a few PYQs, or practicing questions on gate overflow. You don't need separate revision days. Even 1 to 2 hours daily is also enough. This is how your preparation cycle should look like. Let's say, for example, you have completed OS, you have watched its lectures, you have practiced questions, and then you move on to DBMS. Now, meanwhile, when you're watching lectures of DBMS and practicing its question in parallel, you you should revise the OS that you have already completed. In this manner, when you move from one subject to another, the previous completed subjects will get a revision block, which will help you to retain it for a longer time. And another mistake is waiting to become perfect at one topic before moving to the next. Don't do that. Let's say you completed a topic, you should solve questions. You understand most of the concepts, that enough to move ahead. If you keep chasing perfection, syllabus completion becomes very difficult. Now let's talk about test series. A lot of students either don't buy test series early enough or don't know how to use it properly. My advice is simple. Don't treat the test series as something that starts after syllabus completion. Use it throughout your preparation. Now, that doesn't mean you should immediately give a topic wise test the moment you finish a topic. In fact, I would suggest doing the opposite. Let's say you completed CPU scheduling today. Don't give the test today. Everything is still fresh in your mind. Instead, wait for a few days, continue studying other topics, then attempt the topic wise test. This gives you a much more realistic picture of what you actually read. Remember, the purpose of this test is not to check your score. The purpose is to identify what you are forgetting. When you give a test after a small gap, you will notice concepts that you thought you knew but couldn't recall during the exam. Those are exactly the concepts that should go into a revision list. Similarly, when you complete an entire subject, start giving subject-wise tests after a few days of completing the subject. Again, don't focus too much on the score. Focus on the mistakes. Ask yourself, where did I get this question wrong? Did I forget the concept? Was it a silly mistake? Was it a time management issue? The answer to these questions will tell you where your weakness are. And the best part is that you can fix this weakness during your daily revision hours. This is the why I believe test and revision should work together. If you follow this process consistently and complete your syllabus by November or even December, you still have enough time before the exam for multiple revision and full length mocks. At last, I have a final message for everyone who is watching this video. No subject is difficult, no exam is difficult. The difficult part is staying consistent with the process. If you have any queries or suggestions for future videos, feel free to leave them in the comments. Thank you for watching and all the best for your game.